Hello, friend. I am making a very special video today. I'm going to talk to you about 3 very special dreams that I had. And they are concerning my oldest son, Taryn, who passed away technically on November 1st of 2019. About 3 months before he died, I had a premonition dream. I didn't know it was a premonition dream at the time. I just knew it was this spectacularly amazing, beautiful dream. And I homestead. So at the time, I was living in a tent right outside my dome. And in my dream, I was standing outside of my tent talking to my partner, Charles, when these flickering lights I caught them out of the corner of my eye. And so I stopped talking to him and I turn and look, and that would be where our then kitchen dome was located. And so I would just basically just turning like this to look, and a vista opened up in front of me with the most incredible color of blues that I had ever seen. Something akin to the Mediterranean, like in Greece, those kinds of blues. And then there were these huge, as big as my geodesic dome, there were these huge light spirals of gold and silver, and on top of the spirals were bluebirds. Hundreds, if not thousands, of bluebirds, and they were all perched on these light spirals, and they were softly murmuring whatever a bluebird sounds like. I'd never really paid attention or listened to a bluebird, and I love birds, but in my dream I didn't really know. I had never really heard a bluebird before that I was like, oh, that's a bluebird. So they were all softly murmuring their bluebird song. And as I'm watching this beautiful vision, I am struck with just the immense beauty of it, and there was a feeling about it, and I was in awe. But then there was a voice that was in my head. It wasn't, at the time I wouldn't have said that was me. It was not my voice. It was a voice that said to me, this world is perfect just the way it is. There's nothing to fix. It's not broken. And when that voice said that to me, that message, I knew that it was true. I felt it in the core of my being that this was a unshakable truth. And I was left feeling, I don't even know how to describe the feeling. It was beyond peace. It was this feeling like everything was right and nothing could ever be wrong. And excuse me, and this dream was incredibly vivid. I mean, it felt real as real. And when I woke up, I knew that it was a dream that I would never forget. It was that impactful. And I immediately started telling my son, Sage, because he lives here with me. I told him the dream. I told, or actually he wasn't here at the time, but I told him. I told my son Taryn. I told my son Gavin, my partner Charles, like my friends. I told people about this dream because this dream, it just blew me away. I'd never had a dream quite like that before. And then October 31st rolled around, and my son Taryn had a terrible, he died. He died that night. He died on Halloween night, but I was at the hospital, watching them work on him in the ER for a while, trying to get him to breathe. And the ER doctor called his death at 1:11 in the morning on November 1st. And I knew that Taryn had done that time. He knew I loved numbers, and I was into, it's 1:11, it's 11:11, it's, he knew I was into that, even though it wasn't necessarily his thing. It was his message to me that, just one of many. And then, so my next dream, my next incredibly vivid dream was winter solstice. So that would have been the next month in December, and I was supposed to go away with my partner Charles and my other son Gavin to some camp out thing, and it was cold, and I didn't want to leave at 3 in the morning in the cold and sleep in the car and all that stuff. So I just stayed home in bed where it was nice and warm. And my son Taryn, so in the dream, this dream opened up. I was in this big room. It was kind of like a convention room or something. It was really large. It was very well lit. A lot of light, and there were a lot of people in this room, but it felt like it was a reunion of sorts, because everybody was talking amongst themselves, standing or sitting, and just talking and mingling, and the feeling in the room felt really nice, and it was comfortable. Normally I wouldn't be, I would feel anxious in a room full of people that I didn't know, but in my dream I felt completely comfortable. And I suddenly spotted my son Taryn across the room, and he made his way. When he was holding a small child, like a baby, like not a baby, but before a toddler, but not a baby. He was holding this child in his arms, like a pre-toddler, and a little blonde-haired baby just wearing diapers. And he made his way over to me, and he stood to the left of me holding this child. And I don't know if we were talking or anything, but suddenly Taryn just started laughing. And, if you knew Taryn when he was here in the physical, he loved to laugh, and he was so, just very jubilant, and his laughter was very contagious. And he started laughing and laughing and laughing so hard that he doubled over while holding this child. And when he got his composure, he stood back up. He turned and he handed me this child. And then he wandered off into the crowd. And I thought, when I woke up, that he was okay. I don't really fully understand the extent of it, other than he was his beautiful self, and it was that same feeling as the bluebird dream, that everything was okay. Everything was the way it was supposed to be. And there's that innocence, and I think he was maybe showing me that he was a child again, and he was giving me the gift of holding the child. And and it felt good. My next dream was on the spring solstice. He did those dreams, perfect timing. He did those all on purpose, I believe. But the spring solstice came around, and that was in February, I want to say, March or February of 2020, so last year. And so what I was in this field, and there was a path before me, but on either side of me were all these flowers, just thousands and thousands of flowers. And there were flowers in this dream that I've never seen before on this planet. And there were some that I recognized. I saw daisies that were as big as platters. I mean, they were just huge. And there were a couple other little flowers that I recognized, like violets. Excuse me. Little things like that. But for the majority of the flowers, I didn't recognize them. And I started to move down this path, but the flowers were crowding in. And I started kind of jumping to get through the path. And when I started jumping, the flowers all started jumping. And I was like, what? That was pretty incredible. And then I just ran through the path with all these flowers. They felt alive in a way that I had never experienced flowers before. And when I woke up from that dream, I knew that was a very important dream for me. And my youngest son, Sage, he said that dream had been a gift from Taryn. That Taryn had been in my dream, but I couldn't see him, but he was there. And I believe it, because it was filled with love and beauty. And I think it was his way of showing me that that's the beauty inside of us. That's what I am. Wants us to focus on. So that we're giving that to ourselves. Because that's what I am wants to give back to us. And I think it's really important that we're doing that for ourselves, because that's why this world is perfect just the way it is, and that there's nothing in this world to fix. There's nothing broken in this world. That we're just supposed to give everything to ourself so that ourself can project that into the world for us to experience. And everything in the world that seems broken or crazy, it's only that way because our focus is being misused. And when I think about it, and it took me, believe me, it took me some time through 2020, after my son passed, but I realized the incredible gift of love that was there for me. And to bring this full circle, we had his a remembrance for my son in Jefferson, in the city that we live. I don't want to give too much information away. And we had that on November 11th. And from that, after that day forward, I started seeing bluebirds everywhere. Now, I do live in Missouri, and the state bird is the bluebird. But I've lived here a very long time, since I was a teenager, and I had never seen a ton of bluebirds. I've never seen that many bluebirds. But my son, Taryn, brought me so many bluebirds through the entire year of 2020, when my heart was aching and I had cried a million tears easily. He brought bluebirds to me over and over. I'd see 10, 20, 30 bluebirds a day. And you might wonder, well, how did I see that many? Well, I was outside a lot for the job that I had. And I traveled around through the country quite a bit. So I don't know, but it makes sense to me now. Because he was showing me that he wasn't gone, that he was still with me, and he was trying to do everything he could to show me that everything was okay and that he was still alive and that he loved me. And he was always very charming, so it doesn't surprise me that he could talk bluebirds into doing that for him. But that was what I told myself, then. And now I recognize it for what it is. He was in his imagination in heaven, in the kingdom, and he was creating the most beautiful experiences that he could share with me to help me through the hardest experience I've ever been through. He was only 27 when he died, and it was a very shocking, unexpected thing that happened. And 2020 and a good chunk of this year were just not easy for me. But then I found Neville Goddard's teachings, and I listened to Neville Goddard and Florence Scovel Shinn and a few others that have really been helpful, like like Jake Ducey or several people that are just, they get it, right? But it wasn't until I found Nevolution and then started listening to those videos, and then I found Edward Art Supply when he put out his Reddit series. It changed everything for me. And things that I struggled with, and even just recently struggled with, I have found so much just profound access to the truth of me through his teachings, and I felt really inspired. Like, I've wanted to share my Taryn and my dream stories for a while, but it wasn't the right time. And then today I received a beautiful message from somebody that I think very highly of, who touched my heart, and actually a couple people, but and I felt, and then when I got up this morning, I saw that it was the 11th, and it was 11:11 at the time, and I thought, oh, that is Taryn telling me it's time to share a little bit about the beautiful dreams that he shared with me, and that how his death, his crossing over, put me on this path, because it changed me, and I don't know that I would be where I'm at doing this for sure if he hadn't have crossed over. I was just kind of diddy bopping along, doing my own thing, interested, and always have been a delver, a seeker of knowledge of this kind of stuff. But when he crossed over, it created a space that I needed to have. Well, I don't know how to, I'm not putting that right. It blew my world apart so that the truth could come in and rebuild it. And I wouldn't have done that in the way that I have if he hadn't crossed over. And obviously, I would do anything to undo that, his death, but that's what any parent who loves their child would say. But on a bigger picture level, I see the gift, the beautiful gift that I've been able to receive as he worked through his own journey. And for whatever reason, he was here, and then he chose to leave. And I had a lot of things to work out in my head and in my heart after he crossed over. I had There were people that I blamed, and the whole situation was bizarre. And but Edward Art and Neville Goddard's teachings has helped me see that there's no one to blame. And I did it for a long time. I mean, it will eat away at you if you go around blaming people for something that's outside of your control and that you really can't do anything about. And I carried around a lot of toxic, negative emotions about these people. And I'm not saying that I want to have anything to do with those people or see them in real life, but in my own heart and head, I've been able to work through that volatile pain of blame and see it from another perspective through the I am, which has helped me immensely heal from the trauma of losing my son. And I lost him in such a way. It was so careless, and it didn't have to happen, you know? And so I was very bitter and resentful, and yeah, and I had a lot of very, very volatile emotions. And so this was like a fast track with Edward and Neville to help me not sink into that perspective and that kind of quicksand, because that's not a place where anybody could ever feel good being or living there indefinitely. And so I've worked out a lot of my own personal fears and demons, if you will, and I've come to a new plateau of beingness. And I know my son is with me every step of the way, and that he's still alive and still beautiful, and he's still flowing love to me and to everyone that he loves, but also he's working as an agent for I am, and we all are, really. And so I know this is getting a little long, but I really just wanted to say that sometimes things happen that feel so painful, and you don't know how you can ever find your way out of it. But I really think that everything comes to you as you're able to allow it in and allow it out. And for me, that was Neville Goddard and Edward Art. And I'm so appreciative. I'm so appreciative for everyone who takes the time to be present on my channel and on this channel. It's our channel. And for my son, Taryn, teaching me that love has no bottom. There's no end. it's it's in, endless. And when we grieve, that's just love. That's doesn't know what else to do with itself because there's so much. And it's like grief is like all the love you feel for that person suddenly just on you all at once. It would be like what Abraham Hicks had life in one day. You'd be like a little overwhelmed. But that's a lot like what grief is. It's this immense whelmment of love. And you don't know how to process the observable what is. You don't know how to necessarily deal with it. And so people tell stories in their grief. And of course, there's a lot of stories that have been passed on from times of ever since people have been dying, right? And so he showed me that. He showed me that love is endless and there's no limit to love, and really that's the truth of I am. I am is endless, and there's no end to I am. And so we can give ourselves beautiful flowers and lovely, beautiful everything, or we can give ourselves, by misusing our imagination, we can give ourselves things that just ache and hurt and turn us sour and bitter and take us down a completely different path. But it doesn't have to be that way. Although some choose that, and that's their choice. But as for me, I can't. And so, yeah, I'll talk more about my, what I'm inspired to do with my flower dream, because I have something very beautiful that that I've created in my inner world, and that is going to be something that I will be sharing with the outer world, and it's beautiful, and it's very meaningful to me, and it's a gift of love that I'll be sharing at some point. So, but for now, I will wrap up another one of my short videos, and thank you. Thank you, friend, for being present with me. Thank you for your time and your heart. And I just see you surrounded with love and light and beauty and flowers. And the I am is everything. And there's just, it's the most beautiful thing that we can give to ourself, is every lovely thought, every lovely belief, every lovely vision that you can give to yourself. Give it to yourself. It's what it wants. It's who you are. It's what you're here to do. And if you do it, your life will change. And so really this channel is about celebrating the beauty of I am, the beauty of how we live and move in our inner world and our outer world through I am, through love, and together, just doing that, just doing your inner loving visions for yourself or people that you love or anyone you want to, or for anything, this world will jump. It'll jump. Just like the flowers, it'll start jumping. This world will rearrange itself. I believe that with all my heart. This world will become whatever we want it to be. And I know it. I know I can feel it. That's the truth. So, I'm going to leave you with that. I'm going to leave you with so much love. Until we talk again. Have a beautiful day, friend.